All right, 5 o'clock on a Monday. Let's do this. Let's hit the books. Part of the Hammer Betting Network, sponsored by FanDuel, alongside the man, the myth, the legend himself. Speaking of FanDuel, he's live inside headquarters, FanDuel headquarters there in beautiful downtown Detroit. We'll hear more about that in a second. Obviously, unnamed producer, producing, doing a good job so far. I am merely Brad Powers. Before we get to your questions, comments, concerns, let's pay the bills here. Speaking of FanDuel, it might be the offseason, but if you want to bet on college football futures, FanDuel is the place to go. You see that. You see where Knish is at right now. Love FanDuel when it comes to win totals, national championship odds, Heisman odds, week one lines, so much more. They're first to market. They'll take a bet. And right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Just place any $5 bet and you'll get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. What you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/hitthebooks to download America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/hitthebooks. Disclaimer, you must be 21 plus and present in select states for Kansas in affiliation with the Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as a non-withdrawable bonus bet, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit ndgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts. Call 1-877-8-HOPE New York or text HOPE New York in New York. Knish, broadcasting live from FanDuel. What's the word there?
We're live here, boots on the ground, as we like to say on the show. Downtown, beautiful Motor City Casino. Let me give you the FanDuel Motor City little backroom tour here. Nice spot they got down here. I will say, of the downtown Detroit sports books, this one is like somewhere between 800 times and 1,000 times better than the other two that are in the city. So nice setup here, and ready to talk. So we got a lot going on here at the Hammer. We got a new social guy. We got a new I don't know what G Stack's title is, but he's on the payroll. And then we got the contracts assigned, sealed, delivered, ink is dry, and we are ready for a full year of HTB on the Hammer, and couldn't be a more exciting time.
Exactly. You hit it. The nail on the head there. And obviously, most excitement for me each week is not only to talk to you, but to talk to our viewers who have great questions and comments. Before I get into that, any news break? I mean, I always feel like I know your other show always has more news to break. So I know there's probably more on that front. It's been pretty quiet. It's more, I mean, June's very recruiting oriented to get in the weeds there. Big recruiting months, visits for everybody. But I'm sure we'll get more breaking news as we get close to the season. Anything happened in the last week that, made you bet anything?
Nothing. I would say, again, similar to the college football front. I'll hear a little cross company man teaser here. Maybe a new panelist upcoming on the Thursday show or on the Friday show, Friday morning. We'll see. Could be a change in the works there. College football front, as you said, the only thing I really noticed over the last, since we talked last, were a couple of very, very cringe recruiting posts, recruiting topics. The 5-star wide receiver that was committed to LSU, that's at a Tennessee event, and he's coming out like it's a game day now, and dancing with everybody, family, friends, probably people that are paid to be there. So yeah, I will say if you thought NIL was gonna, just make the recruiting business a little less hectic or a little more transactional, not so much.
Yeah, one thing I reacted to, boy, this is going to be breaking news. I'm not getting a good vibe on Colorado this year. Coach Prime away from the team. We hope him, that he's doing well as far as his health. But we faded, the old tout service faded Colorado. What'd you think of that?
I mean, I think the very first show we did this year, 2025 proper, which I know, half the audience probably wasn't tuned in for, was us talking about how much we wanted to fade Colorado. I know a couple of things. One, it's the biggest position I have from a regular season win standpoint. I know you've got a big position. I know there was I'll say this, a we both heard a sharp group that usually likes to be, very, very liquid, a type of group that would wait until, the August or something like that to make
They
was
went. It was like they were going in January on it.
yeah, yeah. They're basically. I think they actually got some regular season win totals pulled down off the board.
Yep.
At that point. But yeah, I think anything. What did the Tulsa get numbers wise? What would you say you would comfortable? I don't. I know we played some 7.5 juiced early. 6.5, I think, is still fine.
Yep. Well, I think
To,
6.5 is still good to go. I
yeah,
led with that because I always wait for the best bet at the end of the show. But if we pull up FanDuel right now, I think it's still 6.5. I think 6.5 is still good as long as you're not paying 200 as far as the juice. I think you're good to go there. 168, I think that's still playable. To be honest with you,
I'm not seeing the. And again, they got us, hey, well, props.
160. That's Colorado State, Mr. Producer. I know. 168 is Colorado. So, but that's still playable.
Well, we're making a lot of changes here at the Hammer, and maybe we need another one. But
no, we love our new producer, who shall go unnamed.
yeah, I'm with
He's
you.
a little
I
camera
don't.
shy.
I would like, to me, I think 5 is much more likely than 7. And if you told me that like Colorado had a 3 or 4 win season. I mean, this is a team. I don't think it'll be. If I was looking to bet alternate unders, this is
Yep.
another one that I'd probably take to the bank here because I think the variance and the disaster potential this year is really there. Like you could be in a scenario where they don't have a functional passing quarterback. And what was the only thing the team really did at a very high level last year?
Throw the
That's
football.
throw the football. Throw the football. That's it. That's really all they did. The defense came and went. It was here and there. The running game was non-existent. The pass blocking was not great. What did they do game in, game out is really throw the football. All those pieces are gone, and now you bring in a guy from Liberty who can't really throw the football and another true freshman who's not exactly, Bryce Underwood. So I don't know. I will say if Coach Prime does it again, then tip my cap. I'll pay to see it.
Yeah. Well, I'll pay a lot.
Yeah.
I don't want to pay
Yeah.
to see it, but I'll be paying. I'll put it that way. We'll go ahead and that's for record tracking purposes. We'll best bet that. We'll call it 180 or less. Good to go on Colorado under 6.5 minus 180 or less. As always, shop around, but as you saw in the broadcast, it was minus 168. So there we go. Leading off the show with the best bet. We might have another one at the end, but I wanted to get that going because I love it, and I don't see it. I don't know if we're going to get the same, the Joe Q Public's going to want to bet Colorado without Shador and Travis.
Yeah. You can already
later.
tell the media machine, like just in terms of their offseason, like last year, how many workout videos did you see? It's like all of the guys that were kind of the, the big names, the media production, the production that was able to win Travis Hunter, the Heisman, that the whole Colorado like offseason show that Dion was producing, like none of that's happening. So, yeah, and not that that's a reason to make a bet, but you can just tell that the churn, the Dion churn has slowed tremendously.
There we go. Let's get to it. Sean Higgs, let's just be honest. We'll call a spade a spade. I mean, this guy is by far our best listener, viewer, donator, you name it. Sean, $100 super chat, drinks for the newbies on the control panel, and hit the like button for the fellas. Also, $100 get you some drinks there in the VIP room.
You know it, baby. Well, I mean, usually, they see Joey K here, and I'm throwing dollars to bring him over here. But no.
What is the drink of choice in the VIP room at FanDuel?
So actually, no joke. If you're here, you get free Fiji water. that is, and they have a bartender works the other side, the main side, then comes in when there's people here. So it's like a double-sided bar. So she'll come in, hey, do you want anything, Mr. Knish? And I'll say, let me know. I'll let you know how Colorado week 1 goes. If they pull the upset, then I'll take a triple.
One of these off seasons, I will meet you in that VIP room because Fiji water is my drink of choice
Oh,
too. So
hey, look at that. I mean, this is we didn't plan any of this, folks.
no,
This
we
is
didn't.
all
I
a
mean, that is
brand
my
on brand. This is how you do. You give us a contract, and all of a sudden we're just shooting off promos, we're branding stuff. Yeah, we're
yeah.
doing stuff from yeah. That's how it goes.
The I's get dotted, the T's get crossed. But yeah, count me in on meeting you up there one of these days because it does
I
look
love
nice.
it.
Thank you, Sean, as always. Sean, speaking of Sean, found a Sam Houston +9 worth a shot, and that is week 0 against Western Kentucky. I'm not there. There's too much too much roster turnover. I'm not a big fan of the head coaching hire there. Lost their entire defenses. That was really where they made their hay last year on defense. Went to North Texas. Not there yet. A lot of early money on Western Kentucky in week 0. I would need more than I would need 10.5 to even consider it, Sean. But we do
Yeah, I think
appreciate the super chat. What's your take on that game?
it's just like you're in that dead zone of like, you know what? If you're at 9, then to me, we talk about this on the show. Just like at that point, I'm waiting to see 10. And
Yeah.
you're so early in the game. If it was a game week and we had a little bit better feel on what the market was doing, where it was going to come in, what time, what groups were betting what, then I'd say maybe earlier to make a move. That one, I would let it breathe and see if you can get a better number
Yep.
on Sam Houston. I'll tell you another strategy that I think I'm going to at least a little teaser here for what I think will be early money line round robins is just basically any type of G5 churn. So if I've got a churn, like if I've got overhaul versus an overhaul in the G5, almost gonna I'm not gonna say just ignore the line, but that to me is a type of game. Even if we're here talking like don't love the Sam Houston hire, the Sam Houston move, between two teams that had a lot of turnover, I'm probably going to, that would be like a candidate where I'm throwing Sam Houston into a money line round robin. Just because I think the game side variance, I think the rosters are absolutely, black and white to what they were a year ago. So that'll probably be an early season HTB strategy for some games we're looking for on the gross board.
I do like Western Kentucky. Speaking of roster turnover, I like their quarterback transfer from Abilene Christian, and they bring the OC over. I like it. That's in the weeds. But we'll talk more about that. And again, thank you, Sean, for that. Charles, always in the chat. Happy guys. Hey, guys, happy Monday. Wanted to know your take on Virginia this year. They seem to be a team getting some early buzz, not buying it. Elliott is a moron, in my opinion. Yeah, I think you broke it down. They are getting a little bit of buzz because, they really went in on the transfer portal. Again, in the weeds. Virginia is probably not a team that's going to get national publicity, but they went out and spent some money at the offensive line. But I don't like, speaking of Elliott, I agree. I'm not a big Elliott guy. He doesn't, scream in a lot of close game situations. He doesn't scream to me like elite X's and O's. I'm not a big Chandler Morris guy either, speaking of the transfer portal. That's their new quarterback. So
No.
I'm not there yet. I'm waiting for the market to mature a little bit, but we might have we might be talking Virginia later this summer.
Yeah, I was you led with where seconded up, followed it up with where I was going to go there. I've never been a Chandler Morris believe from the minute he that first half of the TCU dream season where it was a sweat all until he got hurt, and then we never heard from him again. Multiple stops later, now he comes into Virginia. And I know Virginia, they spent some money, as you said. To me, like they're in that middle tier where they don't have the money to really pay up for the highest end of the transfer portal. And so then when you're getting that mid-level player and you're trying to bring in a lot and you're doing a turnover thing, I think that is more of a, what you'll call a last minute desperation that'll fail more than it'll succeed. So again, I agree with you. I'm not really, a buyer, you would say. Same thing with the Elliott Cup. But the biggest thing for me is the Morris stuff. I don't believe he's a guy who's going to take your program to another level or anything of that.
We'll wait on that. That
Yeah.
is one that intrigues me later because there's 5.5 out there, and it looks like the market wants to be pro Virginia. The problem is the conference. If they were if there's a couple more teams that I was more surefire on, but I would tell you that I would have an under in pocket. I don't have anything in pocket yet on them. I will say this. So what I am comfortable saying is if they don't get to a bowl game this year, Tony Elliott will not be the head coach in 26. This is bowl or bust,
Yeah.
to say the least. D-League 23. Well, bookmaker from pick the TCU -3 immediately. Do I buy crazy old man yet or wait for better? I would wait for you might as well wait it out because I mean nothing but TCU money. I know. Speaking of old man, there was an old man that released it.
I was going to
Not me.
say,
Yeah,
that's where I was going to go. Is a friend of the show, conveniently right after last week, well, friend of the show, right
yeah.
after last week's show, gives out a week 1 college football. Nothing's changed since since the very first minute you came to Vegas and we're doing radio, and he takes the play, and now 15 years later you're back over in Ohio doing the same thing.
Well, I mean, does it totally pull behind the curtain? I mean, I told you. I mean, you're like asking me, hey, why am I not on your list yet? And I forgot to put together the comp list. It's full of a bunch of content creators and stuff. And the reason I haven't given it out is because of him giving out everything. I mean, he'll just repeat everything that I give out and just blow the entire market up. So if you're in the weeds, you know who we're talking about. But more pertinent to the game, I have TCU plus again. I'm gonna, I'll pay the $20 fine. I'm not there yet, and the Lions moved 6 points from where I bet it. I'm not there yet. I would need like 3.5 to bet North Carolina or even think about it. I don't know. That's another one where I don't know, man. I think TCU is clearly the better team. They deserve to be favored. That's the right move. I don't know if I would have been. I was ready to make that big move. I was hoping that would hold off until closer to game week.
Yeah.
But
No, I'm with. I
where are
agree.
you at that week? I mean, I need 3.5. Again, similar to the other one. Let's just wait. Let's just wait and see. You got a friend there?
Well, we got some of the great supervisors here at Motor City. My man Ozzy and Andre here helping out in the back, always grinding, working hard. But no, listen, this guy. It just the spot got blown up before we could, like we already talked. I don't want to go in too hard on it. I'm not begging, but am I dying to get in front of the steam and bet North Carolina? No. Do I think at some point there'll be
Yeah.
some pushback where groups are going to, at some point the numeric value is going to be too much and you're going to see a pushback. But I'm not jumping in front of it as of yet.
Agree. And I'm going to cop out and say, I need to know a little bit more. Let's wait till fall camp. Let's see what Gio Lopez, let me get some reports on him. He wasn't even there in the spring. So, and I said this last week, I got cut-ups of the North Carolina spring game. They didn't even have numbers on their jerseys. So I'm still like, if you ever watch a game with no numbers, you're like, what the hell is this? So
I got to tell you, I do not love bringing in a guy who I know is going to be my starting quarterback who has not even practiced with the team a single rep until the fall. Like, I think you're just asking for the guy to bring it. And I know he's old. He's been around. I know it's not like he's a young guy. He played a ton at South Alabama, but that to me is a lot like new staff, new system, new school, new everything. And you got about a month. You know what I'm saying? You got 20 practices more or less to get in and then be the guy who's going to lead you over a competent team week 1. I just think that's a recipe for disaster early on.
yeah.
The entire program, the entire code, everything at North Carolina is recipe for disaster. But hey, maybe the old man.
So just for informational purposes, I have faded North Carolina. Take that for what you will. Market. I will say, is it best bet? It's bet material. I don't know if it's best bet material because Sonny Dykes has been my enigma for a decade. So I worry about him. I also worry about the ACC schedule. You look at North Carolina's schedule as far as playing the win total. I bet the under, but you look at it, you're like, oof, not a lot of surefire losses outside of Clemson on that schedule.
Right.
It could be pretty bad, and he could somehow find a way to win 7-8 games. So that's kind of where I'm at there. Steve Belkey, any updates on the plans for the 2025 stadium tour? No, nothing. I said I'd probably do Lake Michigan around there. Might do Lambeau. I've never done Lambeau. I'll probably do a bunch of MAC stadiums. I don't know. I just drove across the country. It wasn't fun. I'm not. Ask me in a month when I get done with my preview. Then I might be itchy.
How close are you now to? Oh, you know what? Also, I'm going to start some beef after this question. How many do you got left to hit the full FBS? And I know there's a couple
I'm
teams that have
only
been
like
added.
halfway through, man. I'm only
Okay.
halfway through.
And there's
It's
that guy who's I forget his name or his at no free ads, but who like is basically doing the same thing as you, started it after you, and then
yeah, and
I
everyone
s-
accuses me.
ev-
Like, I mean,
everyone
I'm like,
thinks he's the guy because he promos it up so much that everyone thinks like you took after him. It's like no, folks.
yeah,
I know BP doesn't like tooting his own horn so much, but he was driving to random open stadiums with nobody there before this guy was.
yeah, a couple years before he did. So, yeah, it's unbelievable. Trevor in the chat, LSU Clemson over 56.5. Could see it, but I'll tell you, I, honestly, probably not. Because I could tell you, I don't think that's going to be your best number. I think this is going to be, old man handicapping 101, but early games, big games usually get hit early. They'll get hit under probably. Early big time college football games get hit under. They just do.
I'm I'm with you,
Points are
Jay.
usually at a
And
premium in season openers. Uh, that I think you'll get a better number, so I'd wait.
I very much agree. Like just from a mark, not even handicapping the game, just in terms of the premium matchup. Usually those games, if you look at just market history, as you said, doing it for a while, that I think you might, if you want over there, no reason to bet it this early out.
Yeah. And another thing, I mean, to bet overs, I mean, weather forecast. I mean, let's wait for that. See wind and see the weather forecast. Although you have made a great point. If it's anything close to bad weather, they just don't play it and they delay it anymore. I
That
mean, there
that's
is,
really the old the spam in the early week weather unders used to be a great
yeah,
angle, and now if there's a lightning strike, within 80 miles of the stadium, see you
they
in
don't.
8 hours.
Yeah, you do get them though. I mean, quite a bit in the early weeks, but they used to be great because I mean, stadium clear out for like an hour, and then the game would just be totally dead. Crowd would be
Yep.
dead.
Yep.
Uh, so you don't get that as much anymore. Austin M in the chat. Can y'all hit the Colorado State Washington game? Holy shit, we're really getting the weeds here. I like Colorado State plus 18.5 in the over with both quarterbacks returning. I'm not there on cider total yet. I bet a few week one. I gotta be honest with you. I have the least at this point in the season. I have the least amount of volume on week one as I've had in 5 or 6 years. What about you?
Yeah, I remember. No, we discussed it kind of after, like, man, the early line. I'm not saying everything was like spot on, but usually there's a handful of games where you're like, you're kind of chomping at the bit to get it. I think some of that is a little bit like just in general, like more efficiency. I think better. I just say it. I think FanDuel, like college football, trade, or like a lot of people that are opening it up earlier, put a little bit more stock into it than used to. You used to get a book out here that might throw it out there, and then a few people copy, and it's off to the races. It's just like the whatever 10-year of a market that things get more efficient over time. So that's my little week one spiel. But I agree with you. Just on the Colorado State Washington. Boy, Colorado State. There's some teams that I have to kind of just like rinse off a little bit to feel better about. Going into it's a team last year that didn't treat me too well last season.
I'm
With that
down on them
said,
again this year.
I'm
So
not. Yeah, I'm a little bit hesitant to go there. Just in terms of the way the program and last year set up and last year finished up, and they didn't. I know they have the quarterbacks returning. It's not one I'm jumping to get in on yet.
yeah, I mean, of the two, if you ask me which one I'd probably, knee jerk, what I'd like prefer right now, would probably be the over between Colorado State and the over.
I
For
agree
both
with you.
of
I
them.
Because it's a game where if you want to, Colorado State, at least since they, and their philosophy is they're going to have to score, and can they continue to score on a Washington defense to stay within that number? I agree. It would be more of an overlook for me
They
than
were
a
pretty
point.
pathetic against Colorado. Against it's taking a step up in class last year. They were terrible against Texas
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Colorado. Oof. That's in the weeds. So we appreciate that. Awesome. We'll get there. We'll get there. But on your point, I mean, past few years, I mean, even, there's always been 4 or 5 games that I thought were like a touchdown off in the early market, or there was, 4 or 5 games that were a couple points off around key numbers.
Yeah.
I didn't see a bunch of that this year. Didn't see it.
I
Trevor,
think some of that you would go into past year, before the mass transfer portal. I think you would go into years with a lot more certainty and confidence, especially, like at some of these lower levels, like the G5 stuff. I don't know. We've talked about it in the past where a team's power rating from week 1 to the end of the season, you might move it, 7 points,
yes,
10
good
points.
point.
Now you've got teams that are, 3 touchdowns worse year over year than elsewhere. So some of
There's
it's just,
hesitation.
yeah.
This is also in the weeds specific to this year. There's like 6 or 7 games in week 1 that are first year coaches. I don't know. I don't want to bet that with the complete new rosters. I don't know. So I always look for that matchup where I know the market's going to move, where you got those people that are really high returning production experience
Yes.
chart versus the teams that are, at the bottom.
Yes.
You don't have a lot of
Yes.
those matchups this year
No.
either.
No.
Again, in the weeds,
That's
but there's like 3 or 4 of them, and they're all like Big Ten teams. And I don't want to be laying, 3 scores with the Michigan States, the Wisconsins
yeah.
of the world, or
Yeah.
45 with Penn State. So again, that's in the weeds. You look for those that, okay, this team's top 10 in returning production. This team's bottom 10. Over the course of the summer, people are going to see that and they're going to want to bet it. You don't even have that. So
Yeah.
it's going to be my least amount of volume for week 1. Hopefully some things pop. Trevor Troiner, thoughts on the Utah Conference winner? I think it's been priced out. It's a bet in pocket for me. But if we pull that up, unnamed producer, the Big 12 odds, I think, the theoretical hold on the Big 12 odds is ridiculous because there's 4 or 5 teams that are like 7-1 or less. And I just think, okay, I got it at like 18-1. 15-1 or greater is great, but do I want to bet it at like 10-1 or less? No, I'm not there yet on the Big 12 conference futures. Where are you at on that?
No, yeah, that's a number that's just gotten beat up pretty good.
See, look at that. How many teams? Like, come on. Look at all that. All those teams are less than 10-1. I mean, come on.
Yeah. In a conference, as you said, where you probably got 8 or 9 teams that are, live. I agree. It's just one of those, Trev, that to me, the conference numbers are up all year. Maybe you get an early Utah loss or something, or early it goes in there, and then you can kind of buy in. So that's one of, and even if take Utah out of it, I just think that's a great conference to spot play. Like where you can enter in the market with some of these teams, where you take a couple of teams at the top. You said you've got 8 teams, 6 to 8 teams that are live in the conference. Probably 3 or 4 of them are going to have an early loss, and you wait to jump in there if you miss a number. So I wouldn't chase it at this point. Oh, breaking news alert here.
Yeah. I'm not. Did I say I was completely selling them yet? I wasn't. Somebody's watching the show. He's been blowing me up this whole show. Go ahead. That I knew there was going to be some people wanting to bet it. So there's a reason why I've been holding off on that. That's going to be a late summer sell, but I haven't sold it yet. That stock. They did go on the portal. That was a spring game I watched. I wasn't overly.
Kent's been too busy, trying to go head to head with they do. He doesn't want the smoke, with the big dogs here. He's trying to, trying to go to Lancaster and eat a cheesesteak when they do head to head instead of, going on college football. So, I'm glad he's, maybe getting back into the swing of things a little bit here.
Well said. We appreciate you watching, Tent. Yeah, we mentioned the portal that they went all in, but I just expecting 7-5 from Mr. Tony Elliott's. That's a lot. Vodzilla, how are you feeling about Tulsa over 2.5 heavy juice? But like the culture change and they have a decent chunk of winnable games. Yeah, I would certainly lean that way, especially when the market's pretty much painted. A lot of books have it 3.5. So it depends on how much 2.5 the juice is. Is that at FanDuel? I thought last I checked, FanDuel had that one at 3.5. I'll look here. Yeah, 3.5.
Yeah.
So as always, shop around. A win is worth more than 100 cents. So keep that in mind. Yeah, new coach. I like the coach. If you're not familiar with him, Trey Lamb's his name. He's been a winner. He's been in a couple different places at the FCS level already. So I think he'll be fine. Again, I haven't deep dived that conference yet. You done anything with Tulsa yet? Probably not.
No, I haven't gotten involved, but I mean, if you're taking it, as long as you can get somewhat reasonable juice on that, even if you're paying up, I agree. I like the coaching hire. I think especially programs that have kind of bottomed out, after a long kind of grind. We'll call it a fall down the slope for Tulsa. That I like making that move now. That FCS, that mid-tier FCS guy. I think that's the best hire you can make in the G5.
Yeah.
Is that type of coach now, as opposed to. You can't really compete with getting like a Power 4 OC or a big mostly you're getting like an old retread or some wash guy. I think the FCS up and comer is kind of the new G5 protocol for the smart team. So yeah, again, roster wise, I'm not going to sell you on it, but just coaching, I like the
Yeah,
hire,
I
and,
thought
and I've
Wilson
been.
had 1 foot out the door last year for them.
I agree.
So again, we'll deep dive that more when we do the conference previews. I don't want to give out too much because we'll be speaking of tent. I mean, you talk about a phone getting blown up. I mean, if we give out, like over 2.5, this team, that team, people, there's people that won't like that. But that's coming soon, within a month. Austin M, thoughts on Georgia Tech Week 1 money line -145? I think that's playable. What do you think?
Yeah,
Playing
that's. I'll just say it's one of the. I don't have a ton of week 1 bets so far. I have played some Georgia Tech.
I have to. That's in pocket. Spark College Football, Miami +2.5 week 1 versus Notre Dame. Not there at that price yet. I still want to. Speaking of hearing about quarterback reports, I want to hear about old Carson Beck in fall camp. They said he's good to go. He didn't throw in spring, but he's good to go. So let's see his health status.
Yeah,
Let's see what CJ Carr looks like at Notre Dame's fall camp.
I think you're taking even if, let's say, Carson Beck, clean bill of health, I still think you're taking a massive step down from what you had in last year's offense to even what have we seen from Carson Beck in college so far that's like this guy is what I'm going to call can be a super elite Heisman contending quarterback. I think he had a lot surrounding them and a pretty conservative offense, at Georgia. And now to me in Miami, I mean, last year at Miami, the offense was like relied upon every series, every drive to win games and go up and down the field. And it's like now you're going to have to change your style of play a little bit. You're not going to have Cam Ward extending drives with his legs. And I just think from a program standpoint, we've talked about it. Notre Dame's pretty buttoned up. They kind of handled their business in the roster and the portal guys they want to get in. Whereas Miami, I know they bring in, they're throwing money around, they bring in high talent. I don't think the program itself is as buttoned up as Notre Dame is. So with that said, am I going to, am I claiming to lay it? No, but at the same, I would lean Notre Dame in
I
that
need
game.
3 or more. I did bet Miami, but you know the number I got. So,
and
yeah.
I mean, if there's somebody that likes to emotional hedge against Notre Dame,
yeah,
I'm talking.
I gotta tell you, Notre Dame's roster is as good as it's been in 30 years. I think it's even better than last year's roster. If CJ Carr is anywhere near lives up to the hype, they're gonna beat Miami. I'm gonna lose that bet that I made. They're gonna be pretty. You're right. They're buttoned up. They went into A&M last year. They had a less experienced team. I mean, obviously Riley Leonard's more experienced, but the rest of the roster around him was less than what they got coming into Miami. So Miami better be.
Offense has a lot higher ceiling this year. I'm not saying it's going to get there, but last year, I mean, Notre Dame in some games was like, we're running quarterback power like 17 times in a row. Like we're going to hand it to Jeremiah Love and run, Riley Leonard and see if there'd be 3 quarters where Leonard's stat line, he'd have like 42 yards passing. That to me is, I think, a significant, I'm not saying he's going to get there, but if they reach that, then I mean, you're talking about a team that's definitely got a shot to return to the national title game.
Yeah, I agree with you. If he can throw the football around, they're going to, I mean, Speaking of button up, Miami better be buttoned up in that game, or they're going to get.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just where Notre Dame is right now. Thankfully, first time in forever. It's looking good for these northern teams: Notre Dame, Ohio State, Michigan. That's where it should be.
The curve has the tide has shifted, baby. It means more in the Big Ten these days. I don't know. SEC land, they're sweating bullets down there. I know we got a bunch of SEC fans on the show, but things have changed, folks. Now the
Hey, when
Batman.
it's legal to pay people, the North has more money.
Amazing how that goes.
Money.
Where the only conference that was handing out $50,000 bags of cash. Now that you can get a W-2 and you can just pay it, things even the playing field a little bit.
Love it. Jimmy S. Rutgers thoughts. Think they could be better, but schedule much harder. I think you said it well, Jimmy. I think Shiano's doing a great. He's got that program about as good as you can be in the landscape.
Yeah.
I don't like Caliac Manis, so I'm not wild to go bet over 5.5, but I'd probably lean. I think they're more likely. I think 6 is more likely than 5.
We trashed him last year, and he was better than I thought he was going to be. He was not great. He was not, but I thought he, in that offense with the familiarity with the OC, he was at least more, when I saw him at Minnesota, he was like, this guy doesn't belong playing, D1 football. He was better. Again, never going to be a prolific quarterback, but he was better than I thought. As you said, Rutgers is one of those programs that conference expansion hurt really bad because now, instead of being a team that wants to break into that upper tier of the Big Ten, now you got 3 more teams in between you and the Michigan, the Ohio States, and the Penn States. And now you got Oregon, Washington, USC, and all that. So, I agree with you on the state of the program. I think it's about as good unless they fall into a billionaire that wants to chuck more money at them. I think he's done what he was hired to do at Rutgers and gotten them back to a much more respect. I mean, when he came in the door, I don't know, people like they were the worst FBS program, a power FBS program in the country. So respect to what he's done there.
Yep. Kevin also found Bama to win the SEC at 5-1. Still good at that number. Yeah, that's okay. Not great. Okay. They're getting a lot of love. The word's getting out on Alabama.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I was an early buyer. That was one of the first teams that I bought everything on them. So, but it's another one. I still want to. I'm going to use this as the cop-out broken record on today's show. I want to hear more about the fall camp, about the quarterbacks. Because, again, I watched a little of the spring game. Somebody, again, from the stands took a bunch of video for plays. I wasn't in love with what I saw, but I do think that they're going to be better. Second year, getting Ryan Grubbs more familiarity on the offense. Passing game should be more consistent for me. I like their defensive personnel. The wide receivers stay healthy. I mean, they got a good 1-2 punch there. The running backs are fine. Offensive line's talented. And I still am a believer in Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah, I think biggest in me is the coaching staff. The coach like DeBoer. I mean, you could argue from an ATS perspective, look the best coach of the last decade in college football. And I just, like you said, I believe in him, believe in the program. And I know they had a few hiccups last year in some games, but Saban got out at the right time because the sport changed where, when you add in you're never going to have those, I don't think you're going to have a Saban-esque run ever again, probably in our lifetime.
No.
Things may change, but that type of run and that type of stability in college football probably is never going to happen again. So, I like the Bama play. We talked about it a little bit on the show last week. The number now is, I think most of the value's been sucked out of it, though.
I think they're at Georgia. They're going to be an underdog in that game. Maybe the time to buy Alabama, maybe after they lose that game.
Yeah.
Because still, depending on how that game, went, as long as it's not, getting beat by 4 touchdowns, that'd be the next buy spot, I think, for them. They're starting to the word's getting out on them. Speaking of word getting out, Arthur, any thoughts on West Virginia under 5.5, or is it that too much juice? It's starting to get a little too much juice, but I'm a buyer. I bet under 5.5 multiple times. Another first-year coach with a complete roster turnover. I'm okay with the hire. Where are you at? Because you got familiarity with your boy Rich Rod.
Too much familiarity. I think he's a guy who you're like at every stop he's made, those kind of early year one, like he's going to install his system, his offense, and he doesn't care who's there and who's doing it. Like he's done it at multiple stops along the way. And I think he's got enough clout from his previous time at West Virginia where now things can, in the old days, you couldn't just bring in a bunch of new players to kind of fit the
Yep.
system. So, like at Michigan year one, it was a complete disaster because you had, a bunch of guys who were running, power I and now trying to run Rich Rod's offense. I think West Virginia will be a little bit more leaned in to be able to run that. But again, I'm with you on the under. I'm not dying to lay a ton of juice at under 5.5 though. But gun to my head, I
Yeah,
would
it's
lean
close. It's
under.
closing in on what, like minus 200 at this point, juice. So
Yeah,
that's too much.
that's expensive.
But
Now.
they're only going to be favored probably in 3 games. So I mean, if they're going to beat that win total, he's going to have to pull some upsets. Tricky non-conference. Pitt at Ohio.
Yeah.
And they better win them too.
He didn't bring. It's one of those like those job transitions where you weren't able to just like plug and play a bunch of guys from your previous stop.
He brought in a few, but again, that's
Yeah,
taking Jackson
I know.
Conference USA to the Big 12.
Yeah, I know.
Big leap.
I know,
So-
and it's to me like that. If I can bring in like 10 guys from that stop and have an elite, a good G5 quarterback, and I can kind of just transition that year one, then I feel better about it. That's not really the situation he's walking into.
Yeah.
He also
I honestly didn't think they're not going to like this, but I didn't think the old coach did that bad of a job. They were only favored in 3 games last year and went to a bowl game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know he didn't have the booster support. It wasn't a great recruiter, but I didn't think the Troy head coach Neil Brown did too bad at West Virginia.
No, Rich Rod, he is
This ain't
not
the Big East anymore. What's the expectation?
I know. He's not a player, like he's not a player's coach. So to me, if you weren't a guy who signed up for Rich Rod and now you're turning over to him, I don't know. I think that can go real bad. It's gone bad at some previous stops.
Yeah. The good news is the entire roster has been, brought in by him.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I didn't mention the Pitt and Ohio games for a reason. They better win them because if they don't, go look at the schedule. Not a lot of surefire wins after that. Oof. It could get bad year one. Austin M, and then we'll get to the super chat from Dane. Arizona 60-1 isn't bad for Big 12. Yeah, I'm not there. I'm going to need more than that. Keep in mind, Arizona State was like, 100-1 last year, wasn't there?
Yeah, no, that's fair. But I think, you like.
If there's a conference to bet one, that would be it. But I need like 100-1.
Yeah, I think that's too thin for me as well because he's just got so many teams that I like better than them in between you and the championship. It's like 8-9 teams that you're going to be underdogs against, and you've got to win. I don't know, 7 of those, 8, 6, 7 of those games to even give yourself a shot. So that to me, 60-1 is not enough bite on the cherry there.
With that being said, I bet Arizona week 1 and I bet over 4.5 wins. So I am a buyer of Arizona. Just not that in that market. Here we go. I was purposely waiting on this one because this might be I didn't know this. Dane with a $4.99 super chat. Uncle K, heard you've been originating some feed me props. Anything actionable we can fade?
Well, now let me tell you, if I was originating those NBA props, I wouldn't be doing the show from here. I'd be doing it from the soup kitchen down the block here. Trying to get a free tomato bisque here to keep myself above water. So no, thankfully, I don't know. I'm not sure who was running that gambit, but man, that was a tough go for the feed me's. We'll leave it at that.
Any other chat was a little quiet today. I don't know what's going on. Any other news out there or anything you want to promote?
No, like I said, we'll have a little switch up for the Friday circle back. And when are we doing? When are we starting the official conference previews?
Probably I think until after 4th of July. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Because I think that's when everybody's all go. Markets are pretty much liquid. I mean, we're all go. We can go anywhere we want, whether it be G5, P4, week 1. Well, we can really get after it. I think that's fair. So we'll start them up after the 4th of July. We gave out Colorado under 6.5. Do we got another one, or is that good with you for today?
let's keep it at that for today, and see if we can. I'll have maybe another one to dig up for next week.
Kansas under, Oregon
Yep.
State over,
Over.
and Colorado under. And another one I thought of, I think you gave this out like early. Ohio State, that's still good, under 10.5. Remember, you gave that out a long time ago.
I did. Now, granted, I think we did a show when that was. If I could check my pending, I want to say we got under 10.5, like plus 152 or something like that. It was
okay.
It was a big number.
Yeah, probably not.
So I don't want to grade at that. But
all right. We'll have, for fact checking purposes, we'll have to get that for record keeping. We'll have to get that exact price. But yeah, that's what's in portfolio. We'll have another best bet next week. Speaking of next week, that'll be the next time we talk to you guys. Next Monday, 5:00. We'll see if the man, the myth, legend himself is at FanDuel again. But for Joey Knish, thanks for all your comments and questions. I'm merely Brad Powers. Great job by the producer today. We'll see you guys next week. As far as Hit the Books, part of the Hammer Betting Network, sponsored by FanDuel. See you guys next week.